travel nightmares.
Our flight was canceled this morning with basically no notice.
Delayed, canceled, stranded. Will a passenger Bill of Rights always protect you?
It's supposed to be a passenger charter, then make it for the passengers.
Canada versus Europe.
If you'd been on the same plane leaving from Europe, they would owe you hundreds of dollars.
That's really annoying.
We're chasing the people with power.
If an airline isn't fined when they break the rules, then why should they follow the rules?
It's fight or flight time. This is your marketplace. At the Toronto airport, I'm checking in to check up on airlines. Passenger complaints are on the rise in Canada, so we want to test your rights on flights.
What's your biggest beef when flying?
Delays. We're delayed a lot. Yeah.
Lost luggage.
Lost luggage.
Lost luggage. We had our flight canceled, yeah.
Uh-oh.
No matter the airline, it seems everyone's had problems.
Have you ever been delayed on a flight?
Yes.
All the time.
Have
Really?
been delayed.
Wow.
What? How long?
Hours.
Hours? You ever get flight delays?
Yes, about 40% of the time.
40% of the time.
Long delays are a big beef. Just ask Chris Conrad.
I'm tired and frustrated, and I just want to get going.
That's how Chris felt when her European vacation was delayed by nearly a day. She says they didn't board until 1 in the morning.
And still there's more delay.
More delay, and we sat around, and it was a really old, rickety kind of plane. And when they tried to close the door, it wouldn't close properly. And then we sat there for a while, and then they taxied out a bit. And then they taxied back again. Well, they said, oh, the original plane was broken, so we had to get this other old plane in, and they put a new engine in it, and now the engine isn't working, so they were trying to fix that.
That cost 3 more hours.
That's a long time.
It is, and this, yeah.
Must have been going just stir crazy.
I was hungry, and I was tired, and I was thirsty, and I just wanted to go home.
Air Canada does send her home in a taxi. After an overnight delay, her flight is canceled, and she's booked to fly the following night. Total delay, 22 hours.
They should have their planes in good working order. They robbed me of an entire day of my vacation. I didn't sleep for 48 hours. I think they owe me at least half of my airfare back.
So, she asked for it.
And what did Air Canada give you in the way of compensation?
They offered me 25% off an undiscounted base fare.
How much is that? Well, take away all the extra fees, and the base fare is just $329. 25% off that, $82.25. Not good enough for Chris.
It's like a slap in the face, really. You know, it's like they don't care.
But they don't actually owe her anything. Under the existing rules, travelers like Chris have no clear right to compensation from any Canadian airline. But there might be hope in the future. Because the rules could be changing. Minister of Transport, Marc Garneau.
We're here to make sure that passenger rights are respected.
Last spring, he announced a passenger Bill of Rights.
When Canadians buy an airline ticket, they expect the airline to keep its part of the deal.
He promises it will make things better. How much better? That's what we intend to find out. We're at the Halifax airport.
Hi, Gabor.
Hey, David.
To meet a guy who knows all about the new rules.
Shall we go chat?
Sure.
Passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukács. He fights for disrupted air travelers seeking justice from any airline.
In the case of Chris, would the new bill mean that she would get compensation?
Under new bill, she would not get compensation either. The bill exonerates airlines from the obligation to compensate passengers when the delay is caused by mechanical issues.
Mechanical problems are a common reason for delays and cancellations. But here's the thing, even under Minister Garneau's new rules, passengers like Chris won't get compensation. And Lukács says that's wrong.
Airlines should be liable for compensating passengers in the event of cancellation, delay, or overbooking that is somehow caused by mechanical issues. That's a no-brainer. That has been the rule in Europe, and I don't see why it should be any different in Canada.
So what are those European rules? To find out, we've come to England. Travelers here have had a passenger bill of rights since 2005. They're entitled to compensation when things go wrong, even when most mechanical issues are to blame.
But here's the thing many people don't know. It was a fight to get those rights. So we're heading to the north of England to meet the man behind that fight. Hi, Kobe.
Welcome to Bottingcombe.
Yeah, thank you. I'm David.
Kobe Benson calls himself a flight delay lawyer.
All right, quite a few people here.
That's right, we have a team of about 20 people.
His firm's built a business out of flight disruptions, helping clients get the compensation they're entitled to.
There's tens of thousands of people every single year who have had their claims denied by the airlines. They come to us.
And one precedent-setting case put them on the map when a European carrier used mechanical malfunction as a reason to deny a claim. Kobe took it to court. The airline's legal argument didn't fly.
The real legal test, as confirmed by the court, was whether it's out of the ordinary. And quite simply, the court said that these technical problems are not out of the ordinary.
For an airline to avoid paying, they have to prove the reason for disruption was extraordinary.
Thankfully, we were successful in arguing that most technical problems are not extraordinary, and therefore the airlines have to pay out for them. It was a great victory for us. It was an enormous battle against a very large airline.
So now, as a result, anyone flying on a European airline can claim for most flight disruptions. Even Canadian airlines have to follow the same rules when flying out of Europe. So how would that affect Chris's 22-hour delay?
If she was flying from Europe to Canada, it wouldn't have mattered which airline she was on. She would have been covered under European law, even though she's not a European citizen, and then she would have been entitled to €600.
600 euros, it's about $900 Canadian. It's a lot of money.
That's right, it's a lot of money, and a passenger only needs to have been delayed 3 or maybe 4 hours in order to get that large sum of money.
We break that news to Chris.
If you'd been on the same plane leaving from Europe, they would owe you hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. That's really annoying. It's not fair.
Do you have any words of advice for Canadian passengers?
If they're flying to Europe, make sure you're flying with a European carrier. Then you'll be protected under the very strong and pro-consumer European law.
Europeans have become used to the protection, but don't always realize that not everyone has it. In Canada, we don't have those kind of rules.
Yeah, okay.
That surprise you at all?
It does, yeah, because I kind of think of Canada as a very sort of consumer rights kind of society.
So what circumstances will they have to compensate passengers if it's not mechanical or weather then? What else is left?
What say you, Canadian government?
If it's supposed to be a passenger charter, then make it for the passengers.
Alors, pour avoir les droits, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Ou la révolution, ou faire grève.
Okay, so there you go. The Frenchman says that we in Canada either should have a revolution or a strike to get these rights. Gabor Lukács is fighting for those rights in Parliament.
For the all-too-common event of mechanical malfunction, the bill proposes to actually relieve airlines from the obligation to compensate passengers for inconvenience.
He's invited to share his concerns with a House of Commons committee that's reviewing the bill.
We recommend that the committee amend paragraph 86.11 sub 1 sub b to clarify that in the event of mechanical malfunctions, airlines are liable to compensate passengers for their inconvenience.
It's going to be an uphill fight for Lukács, but these passengers are on his side.
I mean, they really should change it. It holds them accountable as an airline, right?
Do you think you should be entitled to compensation?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely not in the best interest of customers and flyers.
Time to get some answers. From Marc Garneau, the man behind the bill.
As it stands now, the bill does not require airlines to compensate passengers in the event of mechanical malfunction. Why is that?
Well, what we have decided to do, in some cases, if there is an operational delay in a flight, for example, because the flight crew was not there to fly it, or the airline made a change for operational reasons to maximize their traffic flow.
If they canceled a flight because it wasn't full.
There will be compensation there because that's something that is within their control. It is not a mechanical problem.
But why is mechanical not within their control?
We do consider it to be within their control, but for safety reasons, of course, we don't want them to take off if there is a problem.
In Europe, they don't have to choose between safety and compensation. They get both.
We're putting together our own Bill of Rights. I think you're going to see that we have a world-leading class or category of compensations.
Let me put it to you this way. If you and I get on a plane and fly to anywhere in Europe, if there is a delay, a big delay from a mechanical malfunction on our way back from Europe, we do get compensation. Why should we as air passengers be treated differently depending on which direction we're flying from?
I think that we have to, yes, compensate passengers for certain things, but at the same time, we want to make sure that our airlines can remain competitive so they keep prices as low as possible.
Some people feel that airlines have more protection than passengers.
I believe that this is very balanced and that we are seriously addressing the rights of passengers.
But it is not enough for this passenger.
Well, it makes me wonder whose side the government is on. There's no incentive for them to even have their planes on time now. If they had to pay everybody compensation every time their planes were delayed, or I think that would make them pull their socks up a bit.
Benson agrees that the rules are a good deterrent.
The European rules have encouraged punctuality of airlines, so the law has acted as a really good mechanism to ensure that the airlines are operating efficiently and on time.
How this man took on a major airline and won.
It wasn't about the money for me, it was about just bringing this to light.
Should a passenger have to go to court to get something that they actually deserve under the existing rules?
Fighting for your flight rights continues. Only on your marketplace. It's fight or flight time.
Well, our flight was canceled this morning with basically no notice.
No matter the airline, your frustrations with flying are sky high.
There has to be something that can make some processes like this a little easier, a little better.
It can be a long fight to get the right compensation from airlines. Most of us just give up. But not this guy. He took on Air Canada and won.
Hey, Dan. Hi, David.
In Fall River, Nova Scotia, Dan Lachance's battle began after a cross-country journey to Whitehorse, involving 3 connecting flights.
So when I got to Vancouver and boarded the flight for Whitehorse, and we were just about to take off, we were seated and belted in, and then I was asked to deplane because there was another passenger that had been ticketed for that seat.
And they come to you and say, you got to get off.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. It was a shocker. It was a shocker.
Dan was booked on the next flight, which meant a delay of 9 hours.
I was not happy with the situation, and I wouldn't arrive there, as it turned out, till after midnight.
But he does have rights. Air Canada's own rules say that passengers who are bumped off a flight and then substantially delayed get $800 compensation.
Did you get that $800?
No.
Dan emails Air Canada asking for the money and receives this reply.
And essentially says that they sometimes have to deny boarding. And so as a result, they would offer a 15% off the base fare of my next booking at aircanada.com.
He refuses the discount and takes Air Canada to Small Claims Court. That sure gets their full attention. They offer to settle.
They say, here's the money.
Right, but at the same time, in the same letter, along with that offer, is a declaration that there's no admission of any wrongdoing on Air Canada's part. That was the trigger. And it wasn't about the money for me, it was about just bringing this to light.
And so he gets his day in court, but the airline still won't back down.
The big response from Air Canada was that I wasn't on the flights that I said I was on.
The airline says their computer showed Dan missed a connection, so they gave away his seat to Whitehorse. But he made all his flights, and he could prove it.
Because I have receipts that put me there to prove that I was there. In this case, in Vancouver, I was there for hours prior to the boarding of that flight at the gate. Literally, hours.
What happened?
Eventually, we won.
Dan gets the money and his court costs, too.
Yeah. That was a good moment. The adjudicator essentially said that Air Canada wasn't following its own tariff, wasn't treating its customers with respect until they were actually forced by the hand, essentially, to do so.
But you didn't win this case because they didn't show you respect. You won because Air Canada didn't follow their own rules.
Yes. Yeah, it's all about just following the rules that are posted there and not trying to get out of it.
But it's not just Air Canada. Other airlines have also fought back against passenger claims. So how do we know carriers will always follow the new rules? We tell Minister Marc Garneau about Dan's battle.
Should a passenger have to go to court to get something that they actually deserve under the existing rules?
Normally, that should not happen. I don't expect passengers going to court. I think the rules will be very clear, and I have the feeling that the airlines are going to cooperate.
Will you hold airlines accountable if they break the rules?
Absolutely. That has always been the case. And the Canadian Transportation Agency, which is a semi-judicial body, has the power to impose penalties.
The Canadian Transportation Agency has failed its mandate. It has abdicated its mandate to enforce the law.
Passenger rights advocate Gabor Lukács has lost faith in the regulator. He doesn't believe the CTA will crack down.
From my perspective, we can have the best possible rules and laws that you can imagine. If they are not being enforced, they are all futile.
He worries airlines might not pay up because the CTA hasn't been dishing out fines.
How many times have you seen in the past several years when an airline has been found to break their own tariff? How many times have they been fined anything?
Never.
Not once.
We checked that. He's right. At the time of this interview, not even one fine in the last 5 years for breaking their own rules. We take that to the minister.
If an airline isn't fined when they break the rules, then why should they follow the rules if all they have to do is pay the money they would have paid anyway to passengers under their tariffs?
Well, they will have to pay compensation if they violated a passenger's rights. So that is a penalty that they will have to pay. If they refuse to do that, then they can be fined by the CTA, and I'm fully confident that the CTA will exercise that power.
Even though they haven't used the power to fine over the past 5 years.
We're talking about what's ahead of us now.
Funny enough, a week after our interview, the CTA announces a huge fine for Air Transat over this.
Who called 911 from this aircraft?
What does this change for your flight rights?
So it's increasing the amount of time that I should be stuck on the tarmac for.
It is mind-boggling. Why? It makes no sense to me.
The fight for your flight rights continues. The Real Deal on your marketplace. New passenger rights are getting ready for takeoff. They'll offer you better protections, including banning all airlines from bumping people off a plane against their will.
Oh my God! No!
Like the shocking example of this man being dragged off a United Airlines flight.
Oh my God! Look at what you're doing to him!
And in Canada, remember those Air Transat passengers stuck on the tarmac for 6 hours? They already had rights.
Who called 911 from this aircraft? Please present yourself to the very forward of the aircraft.
Quite the ordeal. As a result, the airline gets that fine, nearly $300,000. Why? It broke the rules.
How Under the existing rules, passengers on Canadian Airlines are entitled to refreshments and the opportunity to get off if they've been stuck on the tarmac for 90 minutes or more, so long as it's safe. But under the proposed legislation, that time would extend to 3 hours for all airlines, doubling it from just the 90 minutes.
Consumer advocate Gabor Lukács tried to fight that too.
Exactly. So it's increasing the amount of time that I should be stuck on the tarmac for.
It is mind-boggling. Why? It makes no sense to me.
Minister of Transport Marc Garneau is sponsoring the bill. The buck stops with him.
Why is 3 hours that right amount of time?
We've looked at other countries, and that is a fairly widely accepted norm.
But if we look in this country right now, the protocol of many airlines is 90 minutes. Instead, we're doubling it when we do the regulations.
Only certain airlines have it, and it is
for the big ones.
It's an internal rule that they have in their contract. Of course, if an airline wants to continue to offer that, they can do that.
What do passengers think of the proposed change from 90 minutes to 3 hours?
What do you think of that?
That's way too long to be stuck on a tarmac.
I'm not a fan. I got 2 kids under 2, and that would be chaos.
I would go stir crazy.
You're begging to get off that plane after 2 hours.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen to you today.
Yeah,
Have a good flight.
Better not jinx me.
When you take a look at some of the things that we're talking about, do you think there is anything that you would change now?
I am absolutely positive the Canadians will be very pleased with this Bill of Rights when they see it. And I would ask Canadians to be patient. They'll see it in 2018, and they'll be very satisfied with it. And this is something that will be world-leading in terms of rights compared to other countries.
But the bill is not law yet. It's still being debated in the Senate. Maybe they'll listen to passengers and advocates. What do you think? Send us your thoughts, and we'll keep watching.
It's a cross-border price war. We're buying for baby. Whee! All fun and games until we check the price tags.
Wow.
$119.99. I hear you. Are Canadians getting gouged? On your next marketplace.